stay a while and listen.
Welcome, everybody, to the Agony of Positivity podcast, where I forget the name of the show for a moment, even though I'm staring at the webpage where it says it real big. I am Ross, and joined with me is our on-the-scene reporter for Blanchy the Dead Horse in World of Warcraft, Saul.
Yes. Saul. Yep.
Yeah, I was hoping that it would happen while we were recording, and you could be like, breaking news!
Yes.
Dead horse that led a sinful life, apparently, has appeared.
I could have still did that, but now you ruined it, so.
So, how has your week been?
My week, I'm eating hot tamales, by the way, so you hear me snacking.
Wait,
That's
like
what I'm
hot
doing.
tamales? Now, is this like the
cinnamon.
tamale that comes in a can, or like the crunchy treat?
The candy, yes. The cinnamon candy, yep.
Okay.
Yep. So my week, it's been pretty good, I guess. No complaints.
I would say about the same for mine. I'm currently quite miserable. Went to McDonald's, so cleaned my own carpet this morning.
Okay.
And it's funny, because there was a time where I would have been like, my carpet is so bad. But now that I've cleaned carpets for people who live in literal $1 million homes, my carpet's not that bad. Not at all.
So, this week, I've cleaned a lot of urine rugs, soaked in urine.
Yes, from Tibetan. So I picked up some of these rugs where they have like Tibetan Mastiff-sized dogs. That's not the dog type, but it's like, it's one of those dogs that are just massive like that. Or it's a bear that they, like, the runt of the litter bear, and they thought it was a dog, and they just slapped a collar on it.
People are disgusting. I am not surprised that COVID is running rampant because people are just disgusting, dude. I mean, it's like the simple hygiene. It just,
right.
you know,
Well,
I have two fairly sized dogs. You know, they're decent sized dogs at my house. You know what my house does not smell like? Yeah, and you've been to my house.
yeah.
Does not smell like urine because you
No.
know why? I trained my dogs to go outside and not use the restroom inside the house.
Right, this is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's some stuff like, because we have like the little dog, so the little dogs are always stubborn, and there's like hey, I gotta go out, and if you're not quick, they'll go like by the door or something.
Yeah.
Fortunately, tile, pretty easy to clean up. You know, take some paper towels or whatever, and you're like, man, I wish I would have paid attention.
Sure.
Because it's like, I don't know, our dog's like the kitchen. So our house is like so old. The kitchen tile is a little off center, so you'll hear the click clack sometimes, and it's like you'll hear it and be like, look around, because you don't realize they jump down because they're little dogs sometimes. You're like, crap. And you run to the kitchen. Too late. And it's like, well, they went to the door. They were ready. You're not quick enough. And be like, I also have smaller sized bladders. So, but yeah, like it is like anyone who's done any kind of service, I'm sure they're like, oh, I can't believe how, like, I bet if you were to talk to a mechanic, they'd be like, dude, I don't understand what happened. They put grease from a grease gun instead of oil.
Dude, it's just I don't. The human race is there's idiots. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, we're collectively. Well, I forget. I don't know if it was George Carlin. Someone was like, assume that you are average intelligence. Mm-hmm. Now, half the population is smarter than you. Unfortunately, half the population is dumber than you.
Yes.
Because, like, I can think countless times, like, if I were to go back through the week, there's 3 or 4 things I did where I was like, oh, that was dumb. Why'd I do that?
Sure.
It's like, I consider myself at least average at functioning in life, and I still do dumb stuff. So there's people who just, all they do is dumb stuff. Like, because, I mean,
Sure.
there's a 0 and 100 on the scale. So there's going to be people on that 0 side, too.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, so when I say dumb people, I'm preaching to the choir. I mean, humanity is, we do dumb things. I don't know why we do the things that we do. Some people are just dumber than others, like
Right.
you said. So I don't know.
Well, and it's like there's dumb things where, so, example of a dumb thing, because I was about to use the word ignorance, and it reminded me, I've mentioned this multiple times on this show, but it's one of my favorite things. I had a boss at one of the places I work, and you were working, like, we constantly seem to work at the same place. But you were working there, and you didn't care for this guy, but he was in a different, like, we were totally a different department from you.
Yeah.
But he just rubbed people the wrong way. And one day, I was standing there talking to him, because he was my lead, and he was talking to someone else, and he was like, he read the definition of being ignorant, basically.
Yeah.
And he was like, so, just because I say you're ignorant, it's not a complete insult. You're just ignorant to this thing. And he was like,
It's true.
so you're very ignorant, is what he then told the person.
Yes.
I was like, so not only are you going to call them ignorant, which there's no way that word ever is going to come across not super negative.
Yeah.
You read the definition of ignorant to them to prep them to be called ignorant so that they wouldn't be mad at you.
Yeah. Now, were they still mad at him?
Who would have thought with that kind of prep that being called ignorant by your boss
Yeah.
would be taken wrongly?
Yeah.
If only there
Well-
was like some kind of synonyms or things like that where you could be like, hey, I know you weren't fully aware of how this works, so this is why what happened went real wrong. We need to not do this. As opposed to, hey, you're ignorant to this.
Well, there is people that we've worked with and currently work with too, that if you try to explain things that they do something stupid, it's hard. Because, I mean, I was also like this. Very thick-headed. I didn't like to be told that I did something wrong, even though I did do something wrong. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing, okay, yeah, that was dumb. And now I take those criticisms like, I'm able to like, yeah, you're right. That was stupid. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Some people just can't handle.
So I feel like this is a conversation that's very much like our old style of show, like the bad stuff. But like, I'm guilty, not as bad as I used to be, but occasionally it does come out where when something goes wrong, and my assumption for myself is my birth mother did this constantly, so it was a learned behavior kind of. And you like being wrong sucks. Doing something dumb sucks. But she very much had like the victim mentality, I guess you could call it, where something went wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't her fault. It was someone else's fault. That's why it happened.
Yeah.
And I eventually realized I was doing it. And I mean, I've told that story a dozen times. Basically, there was like a podcast where someone said, or it wasn't a podcast, it was a radio thing. They were talking to somebody who was doing self-destructive stuff. They're like, here's what you do. You just stop doing it. Because you probably know you're doing it if you think about it. And then you'll eventually be able to identify it. And it'd be stuff like, oh man, I broke this dish. Well, if you would have cleaned that dish when you put it in the sink, I wouldn't have had to touch it and I wouldn't have broke it, so it's your fault.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I mean, that's like the super simple version of it. And yes, that is true. If that person had washed the dish instead of just leaving it in the sink, you wouldn't have had to handle it. You wouldn't have broke it. But the reality is, you could have taken better care when you were washing the dish. Assuming it wasn't like an earthquake or something that like knocked it out of your hands. Now, if somebody comes up and slaps the dish out of your hand, obviously that's very different than that situation. But so if anyone listening is guilty of doing that kind of thing, it's not very good. Like,
yes.
Because all it's going to do is make you angry at people or make people not like you.
Yes.
Now, sometimes you just have to be like, oh yeah, I messed up. And even if it's not, like, I don't know, I stopped fighting, like, when someone just didn't understand the situation and they're blaming me, which it doesn't come up a lot, but it got to the point where it's like, this is really not a big deal. Like, oh, you broke that dish, but someone did slap it out of my hand, but no one saw it, so no one's going to believe it kind of thing. It's like, you know what? It's just a dish. It's not costing anybody their life. Like, I'll be more careful next time. Now, that's kind of you could argue maybe that's a quitter thing, but how much energy do you really want to put in to explaining a situation that the person's not going to understand? Like,
sure.
You're going to waste how much time of your life for something that really doesn't matter, and you can just move on and be like, well, I'm just going to remember that I need, like, this guy might not really know what's going on, so if something serious happens, I need to be prepared. But
sure,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's times, and I'm sure I'm 100% sure that my wife feels the same way about me. Well, we get into arguments, and I'm just like, this is just dumb. It does not matter what we're arguing about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for, like, usually when me and my wife argue, which we don't argue about a lot, but it's usually just really dumb stuff.
Sure.
Where it's like, well, we can argue about this because it doesn't actually matter. Like, where it's like, oh, we can actually have an argument. That's better than, like, arguing over, like, oh, where are we going to be buried? That's going to turn into a nightmare.
It's funny. My wife and I yesterday was in an argument because she was doing something on the internet on the phone talking because she has like a little side business that she does.
Yeah.
So she's doing orders or whatever. It was around dinner time, so I just went ahead and just made me a sandwich.
Right.
Okay, and ate dinner. Basically.
Yeah, because you don't know how long she's going to be.
Yeah. So she gets done and she comes in. She goes, "Okay, I'm ready. What do you want? What do you want for dinner?" I'm like, "I already had a sandwich." I wanted to go out to eat. I was like, "You still can." But she wants to eat with me,
right?
Yeah, I was like, why are we fighting? I was like, if you want to go out, we go out. I'll get like a sandwich or
something small or a side or yeah.
I was like, this is not something that we need to be arguing about. I was like, it's dumb.
Yeah, the real important argument is, where do you want to eat? I don't care.
Oh
yeah, you do. Like,
yeah,
I want to find, there's a couple somewhere, whether they're just like dating or married or betrothed, like, it doesn't matter what it is. We're like, where do you want to eat? I don't care. Me either. And then they use like one of those apps that like finds random food places, and wherever it says first time, they just go.
Yes.
And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Where
I couldn't do that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, so this goes back to kind of like what we were talking about a minute ago. I had a real bad habit because I was trying to prove a point. So I'd be like, hey, what do you want to eat? Or wife would say, hey, I'm hungry. I'd be like, well, what do we want to get? And she's like, well, I don't care. You pick something. It's like, well, you do care, because she likes to try to get something to eat from where I'm going, so we're not making two stops, depending. Yeah. But then it'll be like, yeah, you do care. Like, you are more selective about where to eat than I am. So you should, you pick something, and I'll figure out something to eat there. It's like, oh, no, you pick. And it's like, fine, White Castle. Even if I don't want it, I know that she doesn't want White Castle. And then it's like, look, it's okay that you are more selective about what you eat than I am. Yeah, I can work around it. Food is, while I do like it, it is not that important. So I don't know. Like, I'm sure
I've been
anyone who's ever had a relationship has probably had that exact discussion.
Well, I remember once I drove my wife nuts because I think we got roses or something.
I'm sorry.
And,
Unless it was a calzone.
Well, I don't know. So anyway, I was on my way home. I was like, all right. So she picked it up for me. Well, on my way home, I was like, you know what? I want me some White Castle. So I grabbed me a White Castle. Because I was like, I want White Castles with my roses or whatever. So I came home and we had and the night before we had pizza in there or something. So I had like 3 different restaurants that I was eating from. Oh, it drove her nuts.
Hold on, we're going back for a second here. So, I want to find out. So, on your way home, you know there's pizza or calzones or something. And you're like, you know what would go really good with this pizza?
Yeah.
Are some sliders. Some belly bombs.
Sliders or chicken rings or something. I don't know. It was something. Yeah.
Okay, well, no, not or something, because that's very different. Because chicken with pizza has become very normalized.
Yeah.
Greasy liver burgers and pizza, not your normal combination.
I probably got maybe a White Castle and probably a chicken ring or something. Probably. Yeah.
That's super weird to me. Like, because the pizza is a main dish.
Yeah.
And a White Castle to me is a main dish.
You know.
Like, I wouldn't be like.
Well, what does it matter?
It's just weird.
It's not weird.
Like, you know what would go really good with this pizza? A Big Mac. It's weird.
I suppose.
Now, that being said, like the other day, was I telling you about this where I had fish and eggs for breakfast?
Yes.
Yes. So I have this weird, I don't even know if it's a weird hang up, but so if I'm eating eggs, there's very specific scenarios. It's eggs for breakfast with like breakfast food or just some eggs. Steak and eggs. Egg on a hamburger.
Yeah.
Or occasionally egg in a like a thing of ramen noodles. Like egg and fish, egg and chicken. No, doesn't make any sense to me. So I was trying to break that the other day with fish and eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I was eating it, and it was okay, but it was like my mind doesn't think this goes together at all.
That's a weird combination. Yeah.
I mean, I was miserable because I ate way too much. Like I totally misjudged how many eggs I should have.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like rolling into work. I was like, I hope we have some time this morning or I'm gonna die. Like I was just way too full.
Now, this happened just recently around Christmas time, I think. One of my family members was eating pudding.
Oh, is this the potpourri? Pudding? Your potpourri turkey soup?
No. So they were eating the banana pudding.
Okay.
With their other stuff.
Wait, like at the same time?
Like at the same time. And I was like, that is, and I'm looking at them like, that is super weird. They're like, well, I want the pudding. I was like, yes.
Well, yes.
You're eating the pudding and the mashed potatoes and the turkey. No, that's just, no.
Well, there's
So that grossed me out a little bit, but
that's
ultimately.
No, there's like is it cornbread pudding where it's really just kind of cornbread that's a little bit sweet?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, I'm okay with that with food. But yeah, like
banana
just
pudding.
well, banana pudding, chocolate pudding, vanilla. Like, I don't think there's a pudding.
Oh yeah, they were eating. I don't think they listen to our podcast, so I'll just go ahead. So my family, our family,
and if they do, we want look. What you're doing is wrong.
Yes. Well, yeah, they had the banana pudding and they were eating it at the same time as they're eating their green beans and mashed potatoes and chicken or corn, or not chicken, but
no, I mean they were like all like they weren't like just because like mashed potatoes, potato pudding basically.
Yeah.
The pudding that the pudding that the good Lord let us have to go with food.
Yes.
Start calling it that from now on, potato pudding. Like
potato
you'll put like your corn or like a little bit of mashed potatoes on like a bite of turkey or something.
Yeah.
Like, were they doing that with the pudding?
No, I mean
Okay.
it was in a separate bowl, I guess.
Yes, it was separated from the. Okay, so it wasn't like,
No,
oh, I'm gonna
no,
take
you
my
just-
spoonful of
no.
banana pudding and get some gravy and.
No. That would have grossed me out. That would have been like, what in the world?
You're like, one of us has to leave the table. I don't know who, but
I'm gonna get my gingerbread cookie here and put my turkey on it and then eat it like a sandwich here.
the
Yeah.
that'd be, I don't know. So food combinations are weird because like French fries and a chocolate frosty from Wendy's, like dip
That's
the
kinda
French fries in the frosty.
That's weird. I've seen people do it.
I have no
It's
issue
weird.
with that. But if
Yeah.
you were to be sitting there eating like a steak with a bowl of chocolate ice cream, you're like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Like,
Yeah. So what if I'm eating steak and I'm just dipping the steak in my vanilla ice cream, just like dipping it like you would the.
yeah, no.
Cut the steak.
Now I have put like melted chocolate on a steak before with like salt to see how it would
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
And largely because of the salt, I'm assuming it actually tasted okay. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go out and do that. And like, I've put honey on pretty much every food imaginable since we had beehives growing up.
Sure.
Yeah, pudding is its own thing. Unless you're dipping like cookies in it.
Yeah, no, they were eating the Thanksgiving turkey or Christmas dinner with their pudding. I was like, that's just disgusting.
I have. It's not my story, but it's a funny. Well, I don't know if funny is the right word, but we're going to keep the food theme for a minute here.
Okay.
So in high school, I had a friend. His name was Luke. He had a brother. I'm not going to use the brother's name, just on the off chance that someone would find this podcast, since I don't tell my friends about it. I'm trying to think how to put this. His brother was cool. Like, he was younger, but he was a little bit weird. And like,
Okay.
so one day we're trying to find the ice cream that they have. Like, so Luke was a big guy. His brother's a bit, like, the whole family, like, everybody's like 6'10". It's like Andre the Giant everywhere, basically.
Gotcha.
So they have like 14 refrigerators, it felt like, in their house. Like, I never saw that thing without food. It was bizarre. But we're trying to find the
Okay.
ice cream. And then he starts yelling for his brother, and he's like, what? And they're like, do you have the ice cream upstairs? He's like, yeah. So he had taken like the entire carton of ice cream. And like, we're going upstairs to get it. And it's like, he doesn't have herpes or something, does he? I'm like, no. And he's like, where are you? And he's like, I'm in the bathroom. I'm like, kind of look at each other, kind of thing. It's like, I'm sorry?
No.
He's like, I'm eating the ice cream. What are you doing in the bathroom? He's like, pooping.
Yeah, that's no.
We're like, are you going to come to get the ice cream or not? No, we're not. In fact, eat all of it. If that goes back in the refrigerator or freezer, there's going to be a bigger problem.
That container is now yours.
Yes. Like on, there's Seinfeld where they talk about the book being tainted. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. When using the
you're not.
restroom and evacuating your bowels, have you ever thought, you know what would make this a lot better is if I was eating something?
Yeah. Yeah, when you talk about the episode where Kramer installed a what's it called?
The reverse peephole?
Yeah, no,
Or-
where he's making a salad and food in the shower. while
Oh,
he's
yeah,
taking a
like...
shower.
The,
Yeah, there's just certain things that you don't do. It's just,
yeah, it was like once in a great while, like I'll remember like that scenario, and it's like, what? Like, I have never used the restroom and been like, I wish I had some food.
yeah, you know what would make this time go by a lot quicker? If I had a bowl of ice cream right now. Yes.
Like, in fact, I'm like, if I'm eating and I have to go,
Yeah.
I finish my food. Like, there's no, like, even if I'm uncomfortable, like, sometimes nature's call comes a little unexpected
Sure.
on you. It's like,
Sure.
I'm either done eating or I'm finishing it. Like,
Yes.
I don't want those two to intertwine in any way.
Nah, I'm with you on there. I'm with you.
Ice cream while I drop off the Browns. Like, what in the like?
Yeah,
I thought I was like, maybe one day I'll understand this, but nope. Like, it has been. Let's see. I was about 16 to 18, somewhere in there. So it's been over 20 years. It still is not weird to me, or still has not become normalized in any way, shape, or form. Still just super wrong. Probably going to be the title of the episode is Ice Cream on the Can.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
All right. Should we move on from food?
I would say so.
Or our randomness here. So let's see. We got some wrestling stuff coming up this week. It's the week at the Rumble. You want to talk about some wrestling?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see here. I'm trying to be better about the time notes. Wrasslin. That's how I'm writing it. Here we go. We got a bumper.
Oh, I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue heel pads. This is a revolution.
Okay, so I want to touch on Dynamite first, just real quick.
Okay.
Did you catch it this week?
Bits and pieces. Yep.
Okay. I overall liked it. I'm going to skip the first thing, like Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. Like, obviously that it's going to continue. Like, these guys are just in a holding pattern. Like, at least they've stabilized them. They have something to do.
Yeah.
There was that. Did you see this where he did like the choke slam over the top rope to the outside?
Yeah.
That looked nasty.
Yes.
I mean, that's all. Like, that was just brutal.
Well, so the thing is, I think AEW has a lot of. I'm trying to think. So they're high tier talent.
Yeah.
Jericho, Omega, Cody, and Moxley. You know.
Right. MJF.
And then you have a bunch of MJF. Yeah. Well, see, he kind of falls in between.
Yeah, he's like almost there, not quite.
Yeah, you have just a lot of just B level people, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to be mean about that, but
right, but like a B plus, like now if you're doing like a tier rating, you have like S tier, then you have your A, your B, that kind of stuff. So yeah, you're saying like Moxley, Omega, that's going to be like your S tier basically. And then you have like the A tier where Cody's somewhere in between, kind of based on presentation. Obviously, there's a lot of Cody haters currently. So,
and I think Cody, because I think he knows how it feels to be a wrestler trying to break out. I think he gives people more. I don't know, fighting. He doesn't bury people, you know. Right. He and I think that's kind of hurts his character a lot, you know.
Yeah, where it's like someone's more competitive than maybe they should be.
Yeah. I mean, and so you have a bunch of people like down at the bottom, like Eddie Kingston and Murder Hawk here, where they're just in holding patterns. They really have no story, and AEW is like, we want to use you, but you fit in that. You know?
Right. But I would say at least they have like a mid, like it's kind of like mid card stuff. I mean, Eddie Kingston's like promo ability, like if you throw him against the top guy, he's going to make it interesting. Where you want like. If he's heel, you're going to want to see him get his butt kicked because you're going to be like, oh, he's such a butt, basically.
I just don't think they know how to use them. I just...
Right, or there's... I mean, their roster is very big right now.
Yeah.
I'm just glad, like, the way I see it, because just so much WWE that I watched, is there's been an ongoing story between Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer that's actually led up to stuff slowly. Like, at least that story wasn't just totally ignored. And then, like, next week, Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer are a tag team. for no reason, even though they hated each other a week ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not the most interesting story, but there's something there.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
That's kind of how, like, to me, that's how I see it, is even the guys that aren't doing anything major, at least they get a story.
Sure.
Like, unless you're Scorpio Sky, where they're just like, hey, go do a podcast and we'll promote it. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. The AEW has a lot to work on their storytelling, I think, or how to use their wrestlers.
I mean, it's almost like their roster is bloated, like, just matter of factly, which isn't bad. I mean, it's basically them trying not to, like, basically trying to keep people employed in some capacity or making some money to survive. So it's admirable, but I mean, there's going to be a day where they have to release some people.
Well, and Conan got a lot of flack for it, but Conan's kind of right. A lot of AEW people that's on Dynamite really needs to stay on Dark.
Right.
Because,
well, and some of it is like what you're saying, like the story, it's not like a hot story.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it could be, too. It's like, look, we don't have the greatest thing for you, but if you guys can make this blow up and be good, then here's your opportunity. So, I can see multiple ways, but yeah, I mean, there occasionally you're just like, oh, what is this? But then you get people like Will Hobbs, I think, is a good example, where it's like, yeah, this guy definitely needs to be doing something.
Sure.
Yeah, so we got a very strange Jon Moxley promo, because he was basically just like pro wrestling.
Strange.
What's that? This one was like a more kind of lighthearted one, where it was basically the pro wrestling is really weird when you think about it promo. Like I did like the mentioning of the Young and the Restless. I wonder if him and his wife sit and watch like soap operas during the day. Like,
I don't know.
He's sitting there with his blowgun, like hitting targets and whatever.
I don't think Moxley is as weird as Darby Allin, but I think Moxley is also a little weird.
My assumption would be he's weird in a normal way.
Yeah.
Like, this dude who, like, he'll do what he wants, but he wants to be left alone. Whereas Darby's like, I need to create something.
Yes.
And my mind is just a strange place with all these ideas. Let's see. Yeah. So we get, for the Beach Break episode coming up, it's going to be Kenny and the Good Brothers against Moxley, Pac, and Phoenix.
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
Weird.
Well, last time Moxley and Pac were on the same team, it did not go well. So I'm wondering if that's going to continue on.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, unless they're going to build off a story on that where Moxley is feuding with Pac.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
weird.
There's absolutely a reason to.
Yeah.
Because, like, where he turned and hit the Death Rider on him and cost him the tag match, I believe. And then they had the match that went to the draw. So there's definitely unfinished business. And it'd be, if the end result of this is those two end up feuding,
sure,
that's fine, because that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and we get him away from Kenny Omega for a couple months.
Yeah, my assumption is that he might be, like, seems like he'd put Kenny over clean kind of thing. But Moxley showed up on New Japan and attacked Kenta, who has the rights to the New Japan US title.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to get that taken care of, but obviously travel has been an issue.
COVID.
There is a brilliant moment. So Moxley, like, comes into the ring. He eventually, like, Kenta goes for the GTS or whatever the proper name, because he was using that before Punk, but goes for the go to sleep move. Moxley reverses it, hits the Death Rider, and then he's like doing like one of his promos, but he's like, I don't look for red lights or green lights, or red lights or yellow lights, but what you got is my foot up your ass. It's like,
okay.
That does something to that effect. It's like, that doesn't even make sense. But it was hilarious.
Sure.
Hold on. I want to try to find Moxley Kenta promo. Because I don't know. It just made me super laugh when I saw it. Let's see here. If they give. Oh, yeah. It's like. Here. So this is like a transcript.
Important security message.
Whoa.
Your computer has been locked up. Your IP address was used.
Well, that was unfortunate. Did you hear that?
No.
So there's going to be something weird. I'm just going to leave it in. The website, it goes to a pop-up of your Windows IP has been flagged or something for doing something terrible.
Okay.
So we're not going to find out that promo, but which is unfortunate.
Sure.
So we'll go back to this. So we're getting Darby and Sting did a promo for the street fight coming up. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw their promo. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was kind of what I expected, honestly.
Sure.
So I'm assuming this is going to be a cinematic style match.
I assume it would be too.
I mean, because street fight, you can get away with a lot.
Yeah, I think they're going to try to keep Sting getting in the ring as much as possible.
Right. But this gives him a way to do something and some, like, you know, some value for sure. Yeah. It'll be kind of cool because it's, I don't know, the way Sting went out in WWE is unfortunate. So I'm sure nobody really wanted that to be the finale for him. So even if this is it and it's just like a cinematic match and they wrap it up, it'll probably be a good way. I'm curious because WWE has done some good cinematic matches. I'm wondering with Darby involved what we're going to get. Like half the screen's going to be black and white.
I often wonder, since Sting is kind of old school,
how
he's
this
just like, he's just like, Darby, this is weird, man.
I mean, there's definitely some room for some humor in like some of the stuff, like with those two hanging out. But I don't know. Like, I mean, whether it's good or bad, I'm super interested to see what they do. So, what do we got? Nothing really here. Jericho and MJF beat the Varsity Blondes. I don't think there's really anything crazy there.
No.
Cody and Shaq.
So this is the thing right here. So why do we need this? Why does Cody need to be involved in this? I understand Shaq will bring
eyes,
some kind of eyes, but it's just dumb.
I mean, Cody's gotten a lot of spotlight with the Go Big show.
I guess.
Like, I mean, ratings wise, it seems to be doing pretty good. So, I caught a little bit of one of the episodes, and it was entertaining. Snoop Dogg's pretty funny. So, I mean, him or Jericho would make the most sense as far as name recognition, I think.
Sure.
My only hope is, so the only celebrity matches that I recall being any good was Floyd Mayweather and Big Show. Like, that match, if you've never seen that, you should find, like,
I've seen pieces.
Yeah. That's one of those ones, like, this is going to be garbage. And that was one of the ones that stuck out to me that night. As being like, wow, my expectations were super bottom of the barrel. And this ended up being really good. And then I
was going to say Stephen Amell.
Yep. That'd be the next one, is like Stephen Amell for someone who is not a wrestler. Because he did the tag match, and then he had the match at, I think it was All In against Christopher Daniels. Like, they weren't anything to write home about, like as far as like match quality. But for, like someone who's not a wrestler, like a celebrity being involved, those are the ones that stick out to me. Lawrence Taylor, even though I'm a fan of the Giants, man, that and Bam Bam Bigelow, so we got Arn Anderson was involved. He didn't talk about slapping a baby and it being pushed off a mountain being a personal issue, so it doesn't matter to me. Like, It's basically what I want from now on. What do we got? Hangman.
Now you got to explain that. You can't just say something like that because I'm sure people are like, "What?"
So I think it was Anderson. It was one of the original-ish Four Horsemen, like Arn or Tully or something, where it was during the feud with Dusty, like back in '86 at Crockett, I think it was. I might be confused on the thing. Like, there's so many old things I've been listening to through podcasts and other stuff lately. I can't keep it all straight. But they're talking about something being a personal issue, and I think at the time, Dusty had basically taken out Ole Anderson, and he was calling it like a personal issue. That's why I think it was Arn, but I don't know. The end result is him talking during a promo. He's like, if someone took your child, your baby, and slapped it in the face, and then put it in a stroller and shoved it off the side of a mountain, would that be a personal issue? It's like,
Sure.
Yes, that would be a personal issue. It would also be murder. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. So
Yeah.
let's see.
So the whole
Like, I want to make that into a soundbite. I don't know when we would ever use it, but oh man, that's awesome.
Sure.
Let's see here. There's some stuff with Red Velvet, but she's been cursed by Brandy because just Brandy stuff, just something goes wrong.
I know.
It's unfortunate. Let's see. So we get more advertising. Beach break. So true or false? Penelope Ford, Kip Sabian. That wedding's gonna go as planned.
No, there would be something. Something happens. I guess.
All right.
I'm sorry. I don't care about their wedding.
I mean, I'm curious because wrestling weddings are a mess constantly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping for Eric Bischoff to show up and like end up being Bureau's manager and all the
Sure.
makeup or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was getting married on a wrestling show, I'd be trying to figure out where Eric Bischoff is before anything because I don't want my 3 minutes to be up. So we got Adam Page, the loneliest wrestler ever, going against not Dolph Ziggler.
So this is Dolph Ziggler's brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Who basically has stolen the Dolph Ziggler promo. Is what I learned from the Road 2 show.
Yeah.
I had zero thought that he was going to win. I
Yeah.
just assumed that Adam Page was going to win, but I guess big money Matt Hardy is trying to recruit him.
You're talking about a guy where he needs to stick to a character because his characters are all over the place.
Well, I think he's sticking with big money Matt now.
And I understand that's part of the character. I guess he's just confused or whatever.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's consistently been big money Matt for a while now, so I think he's trying to build a heel stable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically not his reasoning is correct, but they cheat, so I think that makes them the bad guy.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm guessing we're now going to see everyone try to recruit Adam Page for some reason.
Yes.
Like,
Because they want a lonely cowboy.
Yes.
That's depressed.
I mean, it's still Adam Page does, and I mean this in like the Crow Sting NWO way. He doesn't really do a lot, but it feels like he's the center of so much stuff.
It's true.
Like, because he's not on, like, his role in being the elite is much less than it used to be.
Yeah.
But it's been hanging out with the Dark Order. Like,
Yeah.
the nuance to that character, he shows up and he looks sad or he has a drink or something. Like,
Yes.
he's still like one of the more interesting characters to me, and I just want him to be happy.
Yes.
Like, and it's like been going on for so long, and I'm not like, you know what? I'm glad he's miserable. He deserves it. Like, it's still just like, I just want that guy to be happy.
I wonder who came up with the idea of him drinking people's beers. And I wonder if he still tries to push that. And Tony Khan's like, dude, you can't be drinking people's beers right now.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that as soon as ever, because he seemed to take it like super serious.
Yeah.
The whole thing. So I'm sure he was like, oh man, I could dodge the bullet there.
You dodge a lot of bullets because before the COVID, there's
still
diseases.
Yes. I mean, the alcohol kills them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we'll see it like, basically it's like, oh, gotta wait for BTE to find out the next chapter of Hangman.
Yeah.
So did you catch Dax against Jungle Boy?
Yeah, I actually. So I like FTR and
Right.
this whole Tully Cash. I just like their dynamic.
Yeah.
It's just old school cheating. I don't know.
Right.
I like it.
Did you like the match?
Yeah, I thought the match was pretty good.
Yeah, Jungle Boy, it feels like he never wrestles. I know he does, but it feels like he never wrestles, and then he'll have a singles match and just crush it.
Sure.
Like, because this match was good, his MJF match was really good. The Jericho match, for the way they were doing it, was good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I assume he's living up to what their expectations are for him.
And for a crappy 80s song that I've never heard of, it's actually pretty catchy. So.
Oh no, that song makes it.
Yeah. So.
I mean, he kind of needs to be a good guy for it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's also him turning into a bad guy, like Hollywood Jack or something. I don't know what he would go to. 90210 Perry. So.
It would be interesting to see if he ever turns heel, how that would happen.
Right. I mean, and then he could just get rid of the song though, and people would be mad because they like. Sure. I'm assuming when we get like proper crowds one day, that they're like Jericho's sing along is going to be nothing compared to Tarzan Boy. So.
Yes.
But yeah, so he wins with the snare trap.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they're calling it.
I was surprised that he beat him. But then again,
it was about time for him too.
Well, yeah, Dax is not really he's not a singles wrestler, so.
Right. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I'm with you. Like, FTR is really good. Tully's perfect. Just come on, get somebody else. Get somebody else in the group. Like, get a singles guy in the group.
Well, I don't know if they were. So it looks like they were trying to do something with Sean Spears because he just disappears.
Right.
But then that's when Brody Lee died. So I don't know if that threw a monkey wrench in, their plans with that.
Yeah. Hopefully. What? I mean, they're fine just as a trio like that. But I think everybody wants the Horsemen so badly.
Yep.
That it's I don't know. So
I would put Arn in there and then get another young guy. And just do a new version of the Horseman. Don't call it the Horseman because they're all against calling it the Horseman. Which whatever. Just call it something else.
But they're we'll all know they're the Horsemen, but they don't have to call themselves that kind of thing.
Well, and this is what kills me because Dax and Cash both said like, well, calling ourselves the Horseman would kind of tarnish that name. That's fine, but then you have horses on your jackets, and so
right,
yeah,
I mean, either way, like it seems like there should be like a singles guy with them though, since they are so dedicated for tags. Like everybody has a faction, so get Wardlow with them. I don't know, like have Tully buy the contract from MJF, like go super old school with it. So do you think? Somewhere along the way, Luchasaurus talked about having a new mask made, I think, on one of the podcasts. I wonder if that's why they cut the horns off that, is he's going to debut the new mask?
Yeah, it could be.
Pretty dastardly, though.
Get rid of the idea of that he's a dinosaur, though. I mean, I just think that's...
What, you don't like dinosaurs? Are you speciesist?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, speaking of primal things, we got the Tasmaniac and his team. So they just beat up the merch guys. That was good. Let's see here. We'll skip. Britt and Shayna's match was pretty good. MJF.
I'm going to admit, I didn't watch it.
It wasn't bad at all. I don't know what's going on with Sammy and MJF. So
Who knows, dude?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes their stories are just super straightforward.
Yeah.
But try to because sometimes they'll do stuff like Young Bucks they kind of do it, where there's like an awful lot of nuance that if you're paying real close attention, you can see where things are going. And it makes you like second guess like a super straightforward storyline where you're waiting for there to be a twist. So, I mean, it works for keeping me surprised sometimes, but
well, it's neat to see that Jericho is not a glory hog, because Jericho, I think, has kind of like toned down a lot. Dynamite's not really about Jericho,
right?
Which is a shame, because Jericho's really good,
right? Right, but you can see that he's allowing other people to kind of fill in what he was doing for a while there.
Yep.
Yeah, he's and he doesn't really have to prove anything anymore. So, except to himself, obviously. But
the problem is you have way too many heels in AEW. I think that's their problem. There are way too many heels. There's not one other than Darby and Sting. That's all they have, I think.
I wonder if we still had like arena shows, like real ones. Yeah. If it would be very different what we get, because obviously, like, they were kind of going with the crowd on stuff, as far as it went, and then you have more shows without a crowd than you do with a crowd. At this point, like, there would probably be people that would just be on Dark trying to figure something out that are on Dynamite, like kind of what you were talking about in the beginning. But I don't know. But I mean, there's so many people who have probably benefited from this whole thing. Like Dark Order, for sure.
Sure.
Unless their plan was always to have them on BTE and just steal a show with frickin' John Silver being a maniac.
Sure.
But yeah, so we got Dark Order against the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers. So I really didn't know. I assumed the Bucks and the Good Brothers were going to win. But I wouldn't have been surprised if the Good Brothers turned on the Bucks.
Sure.
Do you think that's one of those two is turning on the other, right? Like, it feels that way.
I think to make Kenny more of a heel, I think you would have to turn him against, I guess, Matt and Nick, I guess.
Yeah, like the three of them turn on him.
I assume.
Right. So does that give us... Because that feel like, I don't know, it just feels that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Unless there's like just a ridiculous swerve and for some reason Kenny and the Bucks turn on the Good Brothers to try to get the titles from them and make AEW into kind of the bad guys. I like it being mixed, though, so that you don't have to worry about one federation being better than the other.
Yeah. I would, if both federations is okay with it, I would have Kenny get as many titles as you could.
Yeah.
Get the TNT title, get whatever Impact has. Just have him collect all of those, and maybe just have the Good Brothers be his bodyguards, and
and then they just do like the triple thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
and maybe they turn, and like you said, they turn on Nick and Jack, and they steal their titles.
Yeah, like basically make that happen.
Yep.
So if they turn on them, now do we get someone to join and help the Bucks?
I was assuming you would have to go with Cody at that point, but Cody's wrapped up with
Shaq.
Shaq. So,
well, I mean, after Shaq, I mean, Cody will have kind of a free slate, I would assume, to be back involved.
If anything, so I think this is how you could do it. though. This is all fantasy booking here.
Right.
I think you have the Good Brothers turn on them. Whatever, either get the titles or just turn on them. And you would have Kenny and the Good Brothers, and then Nick and Matt will have to go to Hangman, which would get Hangman to go against Kenny and Bam.
Right. Do we find out? Because there was the BTE where somebody stole Hangman's phone and sabotaged him and the Bucks reconciling. Do we find out that it was Kenny Omega?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And then they are like, well, we watch because they've said before, they're like, yeah, dude, we produced that show, we watched it, we saw that happen, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, that could be the end result is you get Hangman back as part of the Elite. I wonder, I just don't know, because I could see the Bucks and somebody else losing. Actually, you know what? So they're doing that battle royal that the Bucks are going to be part of, where they can pick their opponent. Maybe they pick the Good Brothers. Kenny turns on the Bucks with the brothers to cost them the title. Good Brothers have both titles.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go from there. But it seems like this Kenny Omega run is going to have to go for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I would make it until next year sometime.
So
he drops the belt.
If it is the Bucks and Hangman or the Bucks and Cody, I assume you're waiting quite a while before that actually happens.
Yes.
But I mean, it's
which the way they tell stories, I can see that happening.
Yeah,
so,
that's easy.
Yes.
Like, oh, we got to put this off for 8 months. Not a problem. Watch this.
We can string this out.
we could wrap this up in a week. But yeah, we can definitely
No.
we'll make it work. So yeah, so that was Dynamite. I don't know, because you were kind of off on Dynamite for a while. Have they picked up a little bit better for you, or is there more that at least interests you?
Yeah, I mean it's getting interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, are they still doing a better job than, because you were trying to watch WWE for quite a while, and it seems like you just couldn't be with it consistent.
Other than
particular storylines.
They're not as bad as WWE storytelling. I'm sorry. WWE, but I've never been a WWE guy.
Yeah.
I never really liked their storytelling. So, I don't know.
Right. You're the Confederacy of the wrestling war.
Yes.
You got your WCW Wildcat Willie flag and...
Well, the funny thing is, and if I really think about it, WCW really wasn't that much better, because WCW for how many years was it? Had the NWO and Sting, and then I couldn't even tell you what the other stories were.
Oh, there were so many bad ones. So many bad ones.
So I don't know.
I know. Well, speaking of WWE though, so we got the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend.
Well,
So I honestly have very minimal clue as to what's going on with the Rumble, other than I'm still gonna watch it 100%.
Sure.
I could WWE could come to my house and kick my dog, but I'd still probably watch the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't be happy about it, but the Rumble.
I would be happy that Vince McMahon came in and smacked my wife, but you know what? I would still watch
the Royal Rumble. I might not watch the other stuff, but the Rumble.
Sure.
I don't know. The Rumble can be exciting.
It can be.
You get because Edge showing up was pretty surprising last year.
The problem is, who would you? Where's that surprise going to be at this year?
Well, I mean, it's going to be quite lackluster because there's not going to be an audience.
See, and this is why I wish WWE played nice with other people. It'd be like, hey, can we just have Jericho be a surprise entry, and have him for a month or so,
right? Or just show up for the Rumble just to be holy crap.
Yeah, but that won't happen because Vince doesn't play nice. But anyway,
well, I mean, and I guess there's not a lot for them to gain, but it seems like, I don't know. I can come up with scenarios where it's beneficial for them to do it, but I'm sure from a statistical standpoint, there's a business reason they probably wouldn't.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's...
If you truly cared about your product and actually want to be remembered, that would be remembered.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, it would be like, I can't believe they did this, and it wasn't a benefit. Like, arguably not a benefit to them, but they did it because they thought it would be cool, kind of thing.
It's kind of like with that night where DX, the crappy DX, invaded WCW. Yes, I'm making that declare.
Every time.
But if Bischoff would have said, you know what, let's open up doors, let them come in, and actually let them invade.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been awesome.
It would be very memorable. So normally I would say predictions for winning the Rumble, but I don't even know.
I don't know who's
like. I don't follow enough. I've read a lot where people are. It seems like people are kind of wanting Daniel Bryan. Like I guess they've been building something with him and Roman. During the time, like, because Roman's been feuding with Kevin Owens, which has been pretty good. Like, I'll catch or like watch clips of that stuff because again, Roman's thing has been real good. We got Nakamura back to being a good guy. It looks like. Hopefully they'll because that guy's good. He just, I don't know. So here we go. I got a question for you. Since we can't give,
he's been WWE'd.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, he was awesome in NXT, and then he was in WWE, like, proper. And, I mean,
he's been vinced. You think they feel like you've been vinced?
I mean, it seems like a cop-out thing to say that, but it sure feels that way.
Yep.
Like, and then like, I don't know, like the Arn Anderson podcast. He's usually pretty good about, like, well, that guy got something over on his own that the office wasn't ready for, and they cut his water off, is kind of what he calls it. And it's like, so if he was there and he feels that way about it, I assume he knows more than I do. Sure. But it could be just like, that's what it looks like to him, and maybe that wasn't the case. But so they have a poll question here on the WWE.com. Which would you rather do? Win the Royal Rumble and then lose at WrestleMania, or lose the Rumble and not get a WrestleMania moment? What? I'm pretty sure winning the Rumble, but then you lose at Mania, is way better than lose the Rumble and not get anything at WrestleMania.
Who wrote that question?
I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna mess everything up. Lose the Rumble and not get a Mania moment. Let's see.
That's dumb.
Hold on. Does it let me? Maybe because I'm not like signed in or something, which I'm not gonna do. But is there? I'm trying to find, like, there is no. I'm not signing up for that. I just wanted to. No one's gonna pick that. Like, I want to lose the Royal Rumble and not get a WrestleMania moment. That's like, hey, Saul, would you rather me give you a sandwich and a $10 bill, or I lock you in a room and starve you and charge you money for it?
Yes.
All right, but yeah, so Rumble, WWE stuff. Did you see where they're joining up with the Peacock thing?
Yeah, I saw that.
So so is the network as we know it totally gone and you have to have the Peacock to get that? Or is it going to be dual?
I don't know.
I tried to look into it, but it was like day of, and I just couldn't figure it out.
They keep trying to kill the app that they made. I don't understand why they're trying to do that.
Let's see here. Peacock becomes WWE Network exclusive. Okay, so this says NBC Universal's Peacock soon will be the only place to watch WWE Network in the U.S. So that sounds like the WWE app is basically gone. You would have to sign up for Peacock, and that's the end of it.
It's a good thing they built that up.
My understanding is they got like $1 billion for it.
Sure.
So that's more like, I think they have 1 million subscribers. So that's $10 million. Yeah, like not $1 billion over the course of time. So,
I guess.
how much? So I know nothing about what's on the Peacock Network thingy. How
Is that
much?
ABC? No, ABC.
NBC Universal.
Yeah.
How much is Peacock?
$20 a month.
Oh, I would be. Peacock offers an ad-supported free tier and an ad-supported premium tier for $4.99. Ad-free versions is $9.99. So essentially,
it's competitive with Netflix, I guess.
well, I mean, because it's $10 for WWE Network. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
$9.99 or whatever it is now. So you basically don't have that. So you get The Office, so you can watch your wrestling and The Office.
Yeah.
Hundreds of other things.
So, Office.
The Office, powerful dramas, live sports.
The Office. Sports. Yeah.
So what sports do I get? Because like football is really what I would care about.
Yeah.
What devices? So maybe I'll look at a free sample of Peacock and report for next week, because I think we got some time before this thing goes into place. Someone brought up, they were wondering, are you going to go back to having to buy pay-per-views?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you know what I'm not going to do? Like,
Sure.
because so AEW does their, once a quarter they have a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They've all been pretty good. Like, I think the worst one was still like, that was good. It could have been better,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like, I can't believe I just watched that. Where the amount of times that a WWE monthly pay-per-view thing has ended, and I was like, I wish I would have just went to bed.
I think I've watched all the AEW pay-per-views with you, except for maybe one or two or whatever.
Right.
And the only thing the pay-per-views has done, as far as AEW goes, is like, oh my god, somebody's gonna break their neck type
Right.
thing. So
Yeah.
it's never made me go, oh, that was just, ugh.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, because there'll be a story that's been built up, so you'll get some payoffs to some feuds.
Yeah.
Everybody, like, they're long, which, like, WWE, because it's just, like, so much content, it's like, I wish this was over. And I'll be honest, there's a few times where it's like, dude, this pay-per-view is lasting forever. But,
yes.
like,
yes.
it is a special event, because it doesn't happen constantly.
Yeah.
But if I've been paying $9.99 for mediocre at best in cases pay-per-view type events from WWE, and now obviously total speculation, unless that's been proven somewhere, if I'm supposed to pay $9.99 for Peacock and then they try to charge me anything to watch like a pay-per-view, they are going to need to knock it out of the park. You know what's going to be real hard to do?
Yeah.
In 3 weeks of TV, build up
Yeah.
enough things where I'm going to give them any money.
It's true. It's true.
Granted, they don't care because they just got another $1 billion. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I will look at Peacock though and try to report back next week maybe. Be like, hey, this thing's awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I've watched The Office and nothing else.
And then some more of The Office. I mean, I could watch
Yes.
The Office because I haven't seen it. Like, I've seen episodes, and I'm familiar with the characters from meme content, basically. But,
Sure.
let's see.
The Office is good.
Powerful dramas.
Other than I don't care about the powerful dramas.
What about Guy with a Shovel shows under
Guy
powerful
with a
dramas? Yeah, my picture for powerful drama is Yellowstone, And it's got a guy holding a shovel.
Yeah, I've heard of it. That's about all I've done.
And Saved by the Bell.
Well, there we go. I love me some Saved by the Bell.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Everyone did.
Yeah, I think I liked it when I was like 10. I'm sure that TV show has aged a lot. But someone told me they remade that. Which has to be terrible.
Probably not, dude. Saved by the Bell was awesome. You're just wrong. So let's see. So yeah, we'll find out more about that as time goes on. But oh man, I hope they don't try to charge for pay-per-views. I mean, I assume that I would cancel my network subscription and move over to Peacock.
Sure.
Like, because again, I want to like WWE, but it's just not what I want currently. Like, it's just that's how it's been the last year. So
I want WCW back.
I have bad news.
I know.
Because if it came back, it would be ran by WWE.
Yeah, I know.
So it would be even worse.
Yeah. I still want to see the NWO fight Sting every week for the next 4 years.
Yeah. And then just have, when the final payoff comes, just have it totally messed up and make no sense because he's not tan.
Yeah.
Let me see. So have you been playing like anything other than Warcraft lately?
No, and I have a bunch of Nintendo cards to download stuff, and I'm just so bad. I never thought I'd be this type of person. When I was younger,
Yeah.
I was like, I want to like video games. Oh my, how can you not?
Right.
And I've become the person where I want to play games. I just don't. I don't know why.
I mean, I've been living that life for 2.5 years now. So
I play World of Warcraft, but even then, I can only play it for like 2 hours at the most 2 hours. I'm just like, okay, I'm done.
I mean, I seriously wonder if I have some kind of adult attention deficit disorder or something. Like, just total serious in a way, because it's like, oh, I want to play this game, and I will, and I'm like, I just don't feel like I don't know if there's like just the state of the world. I have some kind of depression that affects it if I just can't focus on it. Now, generally, I am very much this is the game I'm playing right now. Like, I'm not very good at jumping around games at all.
Well, this is the state of my gameplay. I'm still in the mindset of like, man, Elder Scrolls Skyrim looks awesome, and I still haven't played it. So,
right. Yeah. Do you feel like it's so? This is old people problem. I'm pretty sure. So when I did insurance, this was one of the things we asked the elderly if there's been a loss of interest in things that you enjoy for part of the mental health screening. And obviously I couldn't relate video games to him with it to explain, but it's kind of like that because I'm the same way. There's like if I look at my Steam library, there are a bunch of games that I want to play, or I think I'd have a fun playing it, but it's like, I don't know, there's almost a time anxiety to it where it's like, well, I gotta go to work. Now I don't hate my job now, so that's not as pressing. Whereas like I need to go to like where I just had no will to live, kind of. Like again, super honest about it. Like there is definitely some depression that was affecting it. But yeah, like now it's like I like my job, and I get home and it's like I'll eat something. Currently, like I'll play a little bit of Warcraft, knock out like, because you got like the daily stuff that you can do in Warcraft. Again, as a casual, I'm not raiding, so there's nothing like that. But it's like, well, I'll knock that out. And it's like, well, I can kind of tool around, try to get some like old stuff for like cosmetic purposes, or I could play a different game. I'm like, oh, I'd really like to play this game and this game and this game. It's just so much work. And it's like, or did Conan Exiles break me? In the fact that put in a lot of effort to accomplish something. and then it's just gone. Like, am I afraid of being hurt again?
Maybe you're afraid of being hurt again.
I need to learn to trust game developers. Largely not Funcom, but other game developers. Because there was a YouTube channel I found recently is the Let's Game It Out one. Like I was kind of telling you about, where he plays a lot of like the simulation games or builder games and stuff like that and tries to break it. So the guy's been streaming on Twitch. I find the YouTube videos more entertaining than the Twitch stream. But basically the YouTube, it's like more, it's like a 20-minute focused video on something as opposed to him just playing a game. But like all those style of games, when I watch it, it's like, oh, it looks like you could build some cool stuff there.
Sure.
There's one like Astroneer, I think, where you're like space planet building stuff. Like I see stuff like that where I'm like, oh, that looks like it'd be a lot of fun. And then I just never look into it. So I don't know.
Sure.
Like I don't know if it's like a old person thing, if there's something like that. If anybody's listening and they've experienced that kind of stuff and they figured it out, let us know.
Well, I just now started getting into it where I'm like getting blanchy.
Yeah.
In World of Warcraft. I mean,
which is a 7-day ordeal.
Sure. I guess when I had that panic attack back in October or September, whenever it was.
Yeah.
I guess it just took a lot out of me emotionally.
Right.
And I guess just now I'm getting back to where I was.
Yeah.
And it's hard just to play a video game anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean I think we both kind of like let things get to us.
Sure.
And then maybe that's a side effect to it, is you just it just takes it out of you. But I'm hoping to there's like so many, like, they're not even like, oh, the brand new game. Like, I don't care about Cyberpunk, but it's like, oh, this stupid looking game where you can build a dog. Like, oh, I don't even know if I would play that for more than one day, but it sure does look like fun. And then nothing. So.
Well,
what do you think about?
Sounds like we're just rambling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that was kind of like a legitimate conversation for sure.
Oh, sure.
So if it's one of those other things where it's like, if people are going through that, you're not alone, kind of deal.
Sure.
No idea what our age demographic is. Regional, we have a good idea, like what countries, what states, that kind of stuff. Age, we don't know. So
yeah, we don't know. We don't know what our, because our listeners, you guys are not very vocal. You don't really tell us what you like,
which honestly is okay, because that's less work for us.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
it's true. So we don't know if you like the food stuff. We don't know if you like us bashing Trump and Bernie Sanders. We don't know. We don't know where you guys like. So
basically all politicians. I don't think either one of us are a fan of really anybody.
It's true. I don't really like Democrats or Republicans. I think they're all kind of scummy. So.
And if libertarians were in power, they'd suck too.
Sure.
I assume. I don't know.
No. Except Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
I kind of like Queen Elizabeth. She just stays
immortal.
Yeah, she's like what's her face? That's just turned 90.
Betty White.
Betty White. She's like Betty White. Immortal. She's like a vampire or something.
Maybe that's what it is. That's why was it the one Prince dude over there who looks like super bad in that one picture?
Oh yeah.
Like someone sucked the life force out of him.
Sure. So
all right.
That should be the title. Queen Elizabeth, we love you.
Nah, I'm pretty sure we're still going with ice cream on the can.
There you go.
But yeah, so if you are listening and you want to tell us what you actually like, we got the Gmail account, which is the AOP podcast at gmail.com. We got the Twitter, which is at the AOP podcast. We got agonyofpositivity.com. You can go there. There's a little link that will let you send us an email. And you don't even have to put in a real name or a real email, just something that ends with something.com. And
we will see that. Which I haven't checked in about a month. I might check it today after the podcast.
We got the YouTube. Primarily, YouTube is just going to be a rebroadcast of this, a different way to see it. But there's a few like old videos on there of different stuff. So there you go.
Garth Brooks and ICP.
Dude, that's still my favorite thing. Honestly. Because that was just ridiculous.
And if you like raw eating sausages, that's on there too.
Yeah, which apparently a lot of people like for our numbers on YouTube. That is me eating meat is apparently the more popular thing.
Yeah.
Never thought
Anyway.
I would be saying those words. All right, everybody.
Guys,
We
hope you guys
are
have a great week.
out of here. Oh, wrong button. There we go.